So hello everyone to the IAAP Nordic Chapters webinar on accessibility in iOS and Android apps. My name is Eva Björk. I'm the project manager for the chapter, but it's not me who's gonna talk today. It's gonna be Malin Hammarberg. Malin is an accessibility specialist and UX and team lead at Solution Technology Digital Solution, if I got it right. But I just wanted to say hi to you all. It's really nice to see that so many wanted to join us today, at least in Stockholm. It's really nice weather. And just let you know about a few housekeeping rules. So the webinar is automatically captioned in English. So if you are in a need of captions, please use the CC button in Zoom. If you would like to ask some questions to Malin, please use the Q&A function, not the chat, so Malin doesn't have to jump back and forth. Please use Q&A, and she will take your questions after the presentation. I think you could already notice that both your microphone and camera was disabled. This is just to keep everything under control. But if you would like to ask your question verbally, please use the raise hand function. Before I leave the floor to Malin, I would just like to remind you, for those of you who read our newsletter that was released, I think basically a month ago. This is a series of webinars. So this is the second one that we are hosting, and the general idea of the series is that members are sharing knowledge with each other. So the first webinar was a month ago, and it's available. The recording for it is available on IAAP Nordic website. So you are very welcome to check it. The next webinar is gonna be on the 28th of September, so after the summer, and it's gonna be hosted by Sarah Broadwell from NAV, and Sarah will be talking about how NAV works with accessibility and design systems. And the more information will come a little bit later on that, and the registration will open sometime in August, but please stay tuned and check our website and follow us on social media. Yes, so that's all from me. I will leave the floor for Malin, please.
Let's see if I get it. There. So I think you should be seeing the screen now. But you see this?
Yes, we can see it, Malin.
Is this in the way?
No, it looks very good.
Okay, perfect. So hi, my name is Malin Hammarberg, and my company's name is Sigma Technology Digital Solutions. It's a mouthful, I know. And the position was correctly given. I work as a consultant as well. So right now I'm at Västra Götalandsregionen, where I'm actually in a team where we design apps for different patient groups. So accessibility is one of the core values in everything we do in those apps. I've been working with accessibility for the last decade, and I have the fortunate opportunity to be in loads of exciting app projects. When we talk about, sorry, I can't change because it's focused on. So. When we talk about mobile applications, I just want to remind everybody that there are actually 3 different types of mobile applications. And this is important because the accessibility can differ depending on what technology is used in the applications. So we have native apps these are apps developed on the OS with the coding for the OS, and they are downloadable from App Store and Google Play Store. They have access to all the accessibility features and services within the operating system. Then we have web apps. They are internet-based applications, and they are built with HTML code and web technology. And they are located on the web, and to use them in a mobile device, you need to access them through the mobile device browser. And then we have hybrid apps, which is kind of a mix-up between web app and native app. They usually have one code base that's built for Android and iOS, and they might be able to reach some of the services and assistive tools in the operating system, but might have problem with some of them. And it's important to understand the differences, because it can affect the solutions or why something is a problem, and some parts might not even be solvable depending on what technology you're choosing. When we look at the operating system, there are also guidelines I recommend to follow, because these guidelines are very well user tested, both from Apple, it's called Human Interface Guidelines, and on Google they use Material Design Guidelines. And there are many explanations from both of them why they think you should do a user interface in a special way. I think it's good to have this as reminders how we work. We can work with the user interface and the design and accessibility. So if you work with apps, I would recommend check this out and read them if you haven't already. Okay, I lost focus, sorry. Yeah, and there are also 2 laws that covers mobile applications. Back in 2012, maybe it doesn't sound that far ago, European Union has been working on standardizing accessibility legislation, and they have come up with 2 laws. One is the Web Accessibility Directive that covers apps from the public sector or public services. The other one is rather new legislation that comes this now in June, and it targets the internal market. For instance, the cell phone itself and the operating system is one part, but also it targets some apps. And it's apps that are related to mainly 3 categories: transportation, when it comes to private or personal transportation, no matter if it's on the road or on the railway or in the sky or on the ocean. And so apps related to that, apps related to personal banking, like your banking services, and apps related to e-commerce. So both these laws point to a European standard called EN 31549. There is actually not an easy way to say that, unfortunately, but EN 31549 is the technical requirements for digital accessibility. And this standard covers all information and communication technology. So pretty much everything from cell phones to printers to ATMs to electronic documents, software, web content, apps, and more. And if we look at the app part of EN 31549, there's a part saying that the app should follow WCAG 2.1 level AA. And then there are some extra requirements, even more requirements than WCAG 2.1 level AA. So if we start with WCAG 2.1, it stands for Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. These are international standard that says that digital service information must be perceivable, operatable, understandable, and robust. Where robust means that the content must be robust enough so it can be interpreted and so that it can be interpreted reliably, I can't say reliable, by a wide variety of user agents, including assistive technologies. Robust is also, I think, the Web Content Accessibility Guideline that is hardest to test on mobile applications. So WCAG, or Web Content Accessibility Guidelines, are divided into 4 principles: perceivable, operatable, understandable, and robust. Under each of these principles, there are 1 to 5 guidelines. And under the guidelines, there are 1 or several success criteria. And the success criteria are testable requirements. They come in 3 levels: level A, level AA, and level AAA. WCAG for apps in the European standard, WCAG 2.1 requires level AA. That means all level A and all AA requirements must be fulfilled, but there are some exceptions. So it's -6 success criteria that are excluded in EN 301-549 for apps. I also said there were some extras. I've lifted some of the requirements I think are important for apps. It's preservation of accessibility information during conversion. It's do not make a biological characteristic as the only means of user identification or for control. And it's do not disrupt accessibility features and respect user preferences. And if we summarize these, it's mainly give the user alternative to complex technologies like biological characteristics or advanced finger movements. Also, respect the user settings. So if a user uses assistive tools, respect them in the app and let them use them in the app as well. If the user has done specific settings to font or font size, respect that settings and show them in your app as well. So what can we do? I was talking about web content accessibility guidelines. An app is not a web unless it's a web application. I'm not an app developer, so how can I test and see things if I don't have access to the code? There are actually a lot of tests and things we can do even if we are not developers and even if we not have access to the code. So the testing we usually do in my projects are automated testing, manual testing, and user testing. When we do automated testing, we use tools to discover opportunities to improve the app's accessibility. We have manual testing where we interact with the app using accessibility settings and assistive tools. And we do user testing where we get feedback from real people who interact with the app. I don't think you should step out on any of these or prioritize any one of these less because they are all important to create a useful and accessible app. So if we look at automated testing first, on iOS, in Xcode, which is the developer application you use to develop iOS apps, there's a program called Accessibility Inspector. And we can actually use this without being a developer. or without having the code, and I will show you how very soon. On Android, on the other hand, there are developer tools where you can test your code called a lint, for instance, and there are other tools as well. But I won't go into them because, as I said, I'm not a developer. Instead, we will look what we can do from the other perspective. So on Android, you can install 2 different apps on the smartphone. Accessibility Scanner is Google's automatic testing tools, and Apps Dev Tools Web Accessibility Testing is also a tool that works on apps as well as the web page. So when we use automatic testing tools, not very much is tested, but it's a really good to do the automated testing because we can find some issues very fast that can be hard to notice when we do manual testing. So both iOS and Android test the touch target sizes. Touch target is actually not a AA requirement, but a AAA requirement in the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. But touch target is a very good requirement. I think everybody should follow, no matter, especially in apps, no matter if it's a AAA or not. The touch target set in iOS is 44 by 44 points, and in Android it's set to 48 by 48 dp. This means that they test that no touch targets is smaller than the fingerprint, so to speak, so that it should be usable for users. So this is a requirement rather from the guidelines for each OS. So I think if you get a warning about this, try to make the touch target larger, because no one should try to hit an area smaller than your fingertip. It also tests resizable text and color contrast and accessibility labels, or in Android they call item labels. And in iOS you also get the missing accessibility information. But I would like to say that resizable text and color contrast might be missed depending on how they are done programmatically. So these two also might need some manual testing to see that you find all the bad contrasts and all the non-resizable text. So in iOS, Accessibility Inspector that's located within Xcode means that you need to have a Mac. You can't go, unfortunately, you can't install Xcode on a Windows OS computer, so you need a Mac computer. And on that Mac computer, you can install Xcode from Mac App Store. It's free, and install it on your Mac. After you install it on your Mac, you can connect your test device, maybe an iPhone, physically with a cord to the Mac computer. And in Xcode, you go to Preferences and add the same Apple ID as the phone has on in Xcode. And then you can go to Xcode, open Developer Tools, and open Accessibility Inspector. And in the menu bar in Accessibility Inspector, you can now choose your phone. My phone has the very nice name, the Pink Phone. And you can also see 3 tabs on the right side. On the left side, you choose if you want to test your computer or your phone you connected. On the right side, you can choose between inspecting elements, doing an audit, and the last one is filtering what you want to test. So if we go to the second tab first and run our automatic audit or automated test, we get a list of problems. On this list, we can expand them. We can also click on a little eye that shows where on the screen they've noticed that contrast failed. I think this app is a very good example because it complains about the contrast in the header and the contrast in the tab bar in the footer, but it misses the buy button, which also have bad contrast. I'm not sure why it's missing it, but you can also in the Accessibility Inspector open a color contrast calculator. So either use the short command by clicking Option Command C, or you can open it from the top menu where you click on Window and show Color Contrast Calculator when you are within the Accessibility Inspector. And if you do that, a color contrast calculator will open up. And if you click on the big colored squares, you can get out a pipette or a color picker and click on the two different colors you want to test against each other and see if the contrast is good enough. Also, as I said, on the first tab on the Accessibility Inspector, you can also inspect the elements. I think this one is really good because you can see what the label, accessibility label is set to, what the accessibility value is set to, what traits it has, if it has any accessibility hint, how you maybe interact with with that control for a screen reader. And this, I think, is extremely good. You can also see what actions you can perform on the screen. If you see here, it says scroll right and scroll left. It's because the buttons in the upper top of the app screen is you can scroll and find more buttons to the right in this app. This fulfills how we test labels and contrast and checking out the overall accessibility. And if we go to Android, it's called the Accessibility Scanner in Android. It's an app we download from Google Play Store on the phone itself. We can then go to Settings, go to Accessibility and open Accessibility Scanner. And when you activate the Accessibility Scanner, you need to follow some instructions on how to get it working, give it access to some parts. And when you've done that, you can go to back to the app you want to test and click on a nice little button now appearing like this. It's a white check mark on a blue floating action button, as it's called in Android. And when you click it, you get two alternatives. Either you can record and do several clicks in the app, or you can take a snapshot, and then I would take a snapshot on that screen you have visible. And you get up the results, and you can read more about them and get information on what's up with just with the different things it's warned about. Also here it can miss stuff, and then you have to kind of manually test some contrast, but you can do that by clicking Edit Colors in this program. And in the same way as on that one, you get a color picker and you can pick what part of the app you wanted to test the contrast on. So next part, manual testing. This is where most of the work is done. But before we go into what manual testing I recommend, I just want to take and go through what needs different impairments have, because if we understand what needs, we know what manual testing we need to do. So I've divided disabilities into 4 very big groups: visual impairment, hearing impairment, physical impairment, and cognitive impairment. Visual impairment is when it's a sensory disability where you have some amount of vision loss to complete vision loss of either one eye or both eyes, or you can have a color deficiency or so-called color blindness. So possible needs for use of visual impairments are screen readers, adjustable font sizes, screen magnifiers, adjustable brightness or contrast controls, voice control, or dark mode is used by users that have problem with contrast. Or we also have hearing impairment. This is also a sensory disability, which ranges from partial to complete hearing loss. Possible needs for someone with hearing impairments is that you shouldn't have alerts that's only sound alerts, but also they need to be vibrating or visual. We might be using captioning on videos or sounds, sound files. We need adjustable volume controls, and they might be using mono audio. That is, that audio comes from one of the speaker sides and not both. We also have physical impairments. This includes people with upper or lower limb loss of disability, challenges with manual dexterity, disability in coordination or fine motor controls, physical and mobility impairment, cause limitation in independent, purposeful physical movement of the body, or in one or more extremities. So possible need if you have physical impairments are that you want to steer your app or your phone with voice control. You might want to change the speed of pressing buttons. You might want alternatives to complex finger movements or multi-touch. You might want to use an external steering device or keyboard, or maybe a switch control. And you might need to have it working in both portrait and landscape mode. And cognitive impairments. This covers a wide range of different disability. It ranges as hearing and visual from mild to severe, and different combinations of difficulties that are related to memory, problem solving, attention, reading, linguistics, and verbal comprehension, math comprehension, and visual comprehension. Since this is a wide range of disabilities and very wide range of difficulties, the possible needs are a long list, and it also might refer to using several different assistive tools to get the experience they need. So possible needs are intuitive user interface that feels familiar and follow the guidance you're used to. So here it comes in to follow iOS user guidelines on an iOS and follow Android user guidelines on Android to make it easier for the user. They might be using Read Aloud with simultaneous text highlighting, might be using a screen reader, might be using adjustable font size or changing the font type, auto text for input fields, adjustable times for completing an operation, and reducing motion. But I just want to remember each one of us in here that when we use our app, we also use a lot of assistive tools to help us, because we are very affected. Every user, no matter disability or not, are very affected by the surrounding around us. If we are in a nice, noisy environment and want to watch a video, we might need captioning. If we have a very detailed picture and we can't use Pinchon to zoom in on it, we might not be able to get the information we need. If we are in a very bright light, we need good contrast. If we are in a very dark lighting, we might want to use dark mode or lower contrast. We are affected by small touch areas if we can't click the thing and interact with the link or button or switch or whatever it might be as we expect to. We are affected by a bad network where web apps or images might not work as they should. We are using the mobile with one hand, so we want to have single tap functions. At times we are relying on voice control when we maybe sit in the car or riding a bike, and we might have our phone mounted in one direction and expect the app to work in that direction. Either if it's in the car in the instrument panel, or if we mounted it on our steering on the bike. So these settings, I think, is used by all and every one of us, depending on the situation we are in, no matter what our disabilities or abilities are. I would recommend to test manual testing on at least 6 different devices. 2 iPhone, one using the latest and one using the second latest iOS version. At least one of the iPhones I recommend is an iPhone SE, because this is the smallest iPhone. 2 Androids, also here one using the latest and one using the second latest. I think it's very important to use 2 different brands of Androids. So don't use 2 Samsungs, use a Samsung and a OnePlus, for instance. Also test it on 1 iPad and 1 tablet, Android tablet. So if we go to the first visual test with built-in screen readers. In iOS, it's called VoiceOver. You can activate it in several different ways, either using turn on VoiceOver or with Siri, say turn on VoiceOver. You can open it in settings, accessibility, and turn on VoiceOver in there. Or you can use shortcuts. So if you triple click the right side button on iPhone, or if it's an older iPhone, triple click on the home button, you can get up accessibility shortcuts if you have edited this. In Android TalkBack, it's the same. You can either open it with Google Assistant, saying turn on TalkBack. You can go to settings and turn it on there, or the shortcut in Android to get to accessibility shortcuts is press and holding the volume keys up and down at the same time for 3 seconds. And then you will access the accessibility shortcuts. To open the iOS router, you rotate your fingers clockwise to open the routers. In TalkBack, you swipe down, and then I'm seeing myself in a mirror here. So swipe down and then right, and then you can get the TalkBack menu up. And this is good because then you can find some of the features that some users use. I won't go into this list very much. The good thing to know is if you wanted to read from where you are, you swipe 2 fingers down. If you want to stop the reading, you tap with 2 fingers on iOS, that is. If you want to go back, you do erasing movements with 2 fingers on iOS. On Android, you go down and then left instead. Otherwise, swipe right goes to the next item, and swipe left go to the previous item, and double tap with 1 finger opens or interacts with the items. What should you test for when you test with a screen reader? If everything is visual, can you reach every visual part of the screen with the screen reader, including icons, images, graphs and loaders, etc.? Are they announced in the screen reader? Is the notification a modal windows read to the user? And when they open up in front of your app, is the modal window and the notification the only thing you can interact with the screen reader, or do you kind of fall out from that and start tabbing around on the background, because that can be a problem? Can the user navigate and explore every element on the view? And can the user interact and control every element and function on the view? This is more important when it's more complex functions. So two fast screen reader tips that I like and use on iOS. There's something called a screen curtain. So you can try out the app without actually seeing it at all. So you do a 3-finger triple click and your screen will go black, and you can keep testing it. And you do a 3-finger triple click again and your screen will turn back on again. On Android, there's a display speech output I really like. So in accessibility talkback settings, you can go to advanced settings, and in developer settings, you can enable display speech output. And then you'll get, I'm not sure if you see on this, on the left image, you get like a caption in the footer, what the screen reader says. I think that's a really neat function. Next visual thing is adjustable font sizes. This is one of the most common settings a user does. A company tested their app and checked how many had other font sizes than the default font size. And the result was that 27% had other font size, another font size set in their system settings than the default font size. So that's about every 4th person use another font size than the default one. So in settings, accessibility, you select display and text size. You need to activate larger text, and then you increase the slider to position 9, and then you have about 200%, depending on the model in iOS. In Android, you go, depending on what model it is or what brand it is, there are different ways. So it might be in accessibility and font size, and you increase it there. It might be under personalization, font and display size, and it might be on the display where you can add font size. In Android, you just take the slider and drag it to the very end, and then you get almost 200% in most of the devices. So what do you test for when you test accessibility, test larger text font size? Firstly, you test if the text is enlarged at all. Is all text enlarged? And if the text is enlarged, is it visible and not hidden outside of the screen, or under or on top of other objects or icons or text? If test that it is not truncated, so you only see half of the word. In Android, there's also an increase display size. I think is very good to test. Display size increases the entire screen and not just the text. So it increases also icons. Sorry, I will just go back. So in my example test app, you see in iOS, you can see that we both have truncated text. and text that have, when it's been enlarged, gone outside of the screen. On Android, on the other hand, none of the text got increased. So high contrast, I think almost everyone might have tested high contrast. No, not high contrast. I wonder if this is wrong. I'm sorry, the heading here has gone wrong. It should say dark mode. So I'm so sorry. In settings and display brightness, you select dark and your phone will turn to dark mode. In Android, you go to display and brightness and select dark mode. So what are we testing for? We are testing that all views actually go to dark mode and that the app has a dark mode. We also test if the contrast in dark mode are enough. So that also dark mode has enough contrast for the user to see the content. And sorry, I mixed up my, okay. So this is high contrast. I got confused. I'm so sorry. So this is setting, in setting accessibility and display text, you can turn on increase contrast. And in Android, you can do the same, but here it's called high contrast text. It's under accessibility, and if you have a new version, it's under the vision tab. So what are you testing for when we test high contrast? We test that the app respects the settings. And I've taken an example here from iOS. So the left image is without high contrast, and the right image is with high contrast. So you can see that high contrast was added to the tab bar in the footer, but not to, for instance, the buy button, which should have greater contrast. But the 90 minutes adult under zone A has been gotten better contrast. So the contrast works on some parts, but not on all parts. Voice control. When we want to, use voice control, we need to download this both on iOS and Android. So in iOS, but you need to download the language. On Android, you need to download the entire program from Google Play. And when you then activate it, you get a floating action button in Android with a little sound wave. So what do we test for when we use voice control? We can test it using navigating use control by saying the visual label's name. Does the visual label correspond to the voice control name? Can the user navigate and explore every element on the view using only the voice? And can the user interact and control every element and function on the view using only the voice? Good voice commands to know is show me what to say, that choose the commands. In Android, you can say, what can I say? Show all commands and show commands to show what commands are. I think the one I use the most is show names in iOS or show labels in Android. It's to show what I'm supposed to say to activate the control. And then you say tap and the name of the control, and then the control should work with that. So this is an example from iOS. If I say show names, the names of the controls are shown, and these should correspond to what the visual label. So for instance, single ticket says single ticket, that's very good. But here, buy, I would expect to say tap buy, but I need to say tap soon. A 90 minutes allowed SEK 35 buy. So this is a good something you test where you see, does this correspond? Also another test is that everything I say has, is everything clickable? Everything that should be clickable, and if some of these doesn't get a number, then it won't be clickable. This is show numbers, the second part, and the third one is show grid. I think all of them are used depending on what the user likes the best. And other support for physical impairment are switch control. You can set up different switch controls. The best one to test with, I think, in iOS is using the screen and the backside of the iPhone to set up that, or set up the camera. So different head movements can do different stuff. A switch control is where you let the user interact with the device using a switch instead of the touch screen. So, or you can set an external switch. If you have a testing device, you can use an external real switch. These can be connected both with Bluetooth and USB. You can also add an external keyboard and assign different keys, different switch functions. I think we jumped this because I think we are a bit short on time. Because these, what to test for in switch access is very similar to what to test for when you add an external keyboard. So we'll take it in that one instead. So another thing we need to test when we think of people with physical impairments is connecting an external keyboard to your app. So connect it either via Bluetooth or USB. I use this very nice keyboard that I connect to my iPhone and my Android. In Android, it just starts working when you have connected it. In iOS, you need to turn it on in accessibility settings, where you can turn on full keyboard access. In iOS, I also need to say that there is a setting in full keyboard access where you can set something called high contrast. You can also set how you want the focus state to look like, what color you want it to have. I say this because according to iOS guidelines in human interface guidelines, that's the OS guidelines for iOS, they recommend not to change the system focus, but instead let the user decide how they want the focus to look like. In this, the system focus is unfortunately not WCAG compliant because it's too light, so it's not always very clear where the focus is, and I will show you in the next picture here. So this is a bit of a hard thing to say what's right. Follow the OS guidelines or follow the WCAG or EN 301549 guidelines. I think the best way to answer that question is to test with users and ask them what they prefer, and then use a statement where you explain how to set contrast that works on your on the app. So what you test with keyboard, the item order logical. Can you see what item is highlighted? Item highlighted only if you can perform an action with them. Is the contrast on the highlighted approved? Is it possible to use and interact with all controls? Does anything unexpected happen upon focus, like change of state or change of focus? And here I have two example pictures. You see on the left one from iOS, you can see that period tick is a very light blue color. This is the system focus, but if we added heightened focus, there would be a black frame around period ticket instead. I could also choose to have this light red or some other color if I have done this personal settings in accessibility. On Android, there are actually good focus and how to work with them, and they have no personal settings on that one. Here you can see also period ticket has a very light gray, so this wouldn't be approved then because we don't have that discussion between operating system. Keyboard shortcuts, it works mainly the same as on a computer. The big difference is on using the spacebar to activate on iOS. And if you want to go into lists or table views in iOS, you need to use Control-Tab to go into them and Control-Tab to move out of them. And that isn't a problem in Android. Also test complex controls like sliders. Can you just click on them with using single click, or do you need to click and press or pinch zoom? Is there another way to zoom? Maybe a plus or minus buttons, or double tap. And a next tip, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm too slow, or I have too much information. iOS, I would recommend setting up accessibility shortcuts. In iOS, there's a setting called, in accessibility shortcut, you can triple click on the side button, or if it's an older phone, on the home button to get up the accessibility shortcuts. You can also add accessibility shortcuts to the control center, and then you can swipe down from right top corner to access the control center and then the accessibility shortcuts. In Android, you hold both volume buttons in for 3 seconds and you get up accessibility shortcuts. There's also an accessibility floating button you can activate in settings from under 12 and up. So in iOS, it looks like that. You go into accessibility shortcuts, you choose what shortcuts you want, and when you triple click the button, you get access to those, and you choose what accessibility feature you want to use. In iOS Control Center, it's the same. You just add accessibility shortcuts in the Control Center in the settings, and then you get an icon for that when you activate it. I usually also add text size, because then it's easy to change the text size when I test with that. So if you click accessibility, the little man with what's it called, Michelangelo man, you get up to your accessibility shortcuts. And if you click on text size and you have said use large font, you get up so you can test the font accessibility font. In Android, the accessibility shortcuts are located on each and every accessibility feature. So you need to go into each one of them, activate the shortcut, and then you get the question, do you want it in an accessibility button or in the volume buttons? I do not like the accessibility button because it's a floating button that's kind of hinder me when it's all over the screen. But that's a personal feeling maybe. And when you click and when you hold them in, you get up this little card where you can select the assistive tool you want to use. You can also go to accessibility menu, and then you get even more settings if you have it's installed. When you do user testing, find real users to test with. You can reach out to local organization, colleges, universities. You can ask your social circle if they know anyone that wants to help you test. Or you can find a partner company that help you test, that has real users employed to do these testings for you. What you test, it's a very important test that the user face is intuitive. It's very important to test that the UX for the screen reader or the UX for switch control or other types of input mechanisms are user-friendly as well. And check that no one misunderstands features or accidentally clicks wrong buttons that they shouldn't click. So 3 minutes question. I can stay for a couple of minutes more. I'm so sorry that I had so much to say. I'm not sure how I can find should I stop sharing, Frida? Or
yeah, Malin, I think that's the easiest for you. Then you can see the Q&A much easier. If you stop
can you stop me from sharing? Or maybe...
Yeah, I can stop you from sharing.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, or maybe not. Yes.
Oh, thank you. As someone has asked, some parts of WCAG 2.1 cannot be applied to mobile application. Is there an official list of them? No, there's not a list, and I think almost everything can be tested. Except for that, I can give you a list on what 6 WCAG 2.1 requirements that are not needed for EN 31549, but I think you can do most of it. You just need to be smart about it. And I usually have a discussion together with the developers on how can we, for instance, make this headings work. That's really easy. So that was a dumb example. But yeah, I was talking to a developer, what should we do with accessibility, with the focus states in iOS? Because I think that's one of those where you need a discussion with the developers, and then you need a discussion with the users to see if you think in the right manner. And what the results from the discussion with the user is the result you should go for. I don't think you should limit yourself and say this can't be tested. Be creative, understand why the requirement is there for the web, and then adapt it and say, how can we fix this so it works well in the app as well. React Native, yeah, that's very popular. I'm not the best to ask this because I'm a very, very warm, I really like native apps because they have such good accessibility connection to the assistive tools. And they are usually, I think it's better to have one app for iOS because they have their set of controls and their set of user interface guidelines and their set of user flows. And we have Android that has another set of user controls and user interface user flows. So I think trying to do the same app and merging it out isn't the best solution. I think it's better to look from the user perspective and do something that's really good on iOS and do something that's really good on Android. WCAG 3, I think will be better because that won't be web content accessibility guidelines. It would stand for V3C accessibility guidelines. And it's just in the beginning. So I think we will have to wait for that for maybe several years. I don't think it will come in the next couple of years at least, but that will have more focus on different technologies, even smartphones. Oh, smartwatches, sorry, smartwatches. Do you know of any automated testing tool for iOS if you do not have access to source code and thus cannot use? You don't have the source code to use Xcode. You can install Xcode and you can use Accessibility Inspector on an external iPhone. So you don't have to access to the code. You can test whatever app you want using Accessibility Inspector, as long as you have a Mac computer and an iPhone. To test apps from test client in iOS, macOS, can I use Xcode? No, you cannot use Xcode to test in test flight as far as I've tested on, unless you have installed the app from test flight on your iPhone. Then you can connect your iPhone to the computer and test it with Accessibility Inspector in Xcode. Can I get copies of the slides? Yeah, me and Eva are looking into that. We will inform you in an email tomorrow or this Monday, I think Eva said.
Yes, exactly.
Can we use magnifying window to test larger text? You should definitely test magnifier to see how that works with your app. I did not take up that example, but larger text is something other. I think you really need to test that your app, if the user set that is want larger text, I think it should be larger text in all apps and not just in restricted apps. And then in some apps you force the user to use Zoom display. I think it's better usability to let the user decide the font size they desire in that, or in the phone, all over the phones, different apps. Yeah, I got the last question. Testers may need to install Android Accessibility Suite from Play Store if their Android does not have all accessibility features. Yes, I've noticed this as well. In some phones, in some phone models in Android, accessibility isn't installed automatically. So you need to go to Play Store and install the Accessibility Suite. That's completely right. And thank you, Fullerton, to that you raised this, because I missed saying that. Was that everything, or?
Yeah, I think you managed to answer all the questions in Q&A. That was really, really great work, Malin. So if we don't have any questions, and it's 2:05 now, so I think we can wrap it up. And I would like to thank you, Malin, for this webinar. Obviously, it was a lot of information, very useful information. So thank you for that. And as Malin mentioned, we will inform you. I mean, you will definitely get an email with the recording of this webinar, and it's going to be as well posted on the IAAP Nordic website, iaaporg. So you can check it later there. And we will, I can't promise that the email will come tomorrow, but definitely next week. So you will hear from us. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us. And otherwise, I would like to wish you all a very nice summer. And don't forget that the next webinar is on the 28th of September. Check our website and stay tuned. Take care, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.